Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I am your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters Chris Scales, David Flowers, Tony Groves, William Gibson, and special guest Jason Eisenhower. Hey guys.
Hey,
How's it going?
hey, Mike.
Good evening.
Hey, welcome. All right, Jason, glad you could join us tonight. Let's take a little bit here at the beginning and learn a little bit about you. How did you get your start on iRacing, and how did you initially hear about it?
Well, I initially started iRacing, I'd say sometime around March of 2017. So I'm only at it a little more than a year at this point. Uh, I heard about it. I'm an avid listener of Sirius Satellite Radio, the NASCAR channel, and just listening to that, hearing guests call in, talking about iRacing, talking about simulators, and it sparked an interest, and had to go on YouTube and start watching some videos. Went to iRacing, did a little bit of research, watching videos on the iRacing uh, uh, station there, and I got addicted, and it was something I knew I had to do. It's just it's like a passion at this point.
Yep. All right, cool. And so when you do run, what series do you normally run? Are you part of a team or do you run leagues or what?
Yeah, I generally run all NASCAR type of series. Mostly just stick to the asphalt. We do have a small team. It's myself, my brother, and two or three other guys, and we alternate back and forth between two different leagues. We run Extreme Motorsports 99 and also SSCA, and I generally just run the truck series uh, in both of those leagues 2 nights a week.
All right. So are you on like almost every day or just a few days a week?
Well, I I don't race as nearly as much as I'd like to. I'm on just enough to get yelled at by someone in the family to
Right.
to get off the computer and come up here to real life. But if I could, I'd be on every night running. And but generally speaking, I race two nights a week in leagues, and I try and practice another night, and on and off, maybe 15 minutes here to turn some laps to try something out here and there, but generally just maybe 3 nights a week.
All right, cool. Tell us about your hardware setup. What type of wheel, pedals, how many monitors, what kind of third-party software are you running?
Sure. Well, I'm using Fanatec. I have a V2 wheelbase with the Forza wheel. I have a V2.5 wheelbase that is kind of a backup. I haven't hooked it up yet. Um, I use V3 pedals, uh, three 27-inch monitors. I have a shifter a prototype shifter that we're building, that I'm working on, that I use. Seems to be withstanding all the trials and tribulations. So hopefully we can get that out in the market soon. But so I'm using that as a shifter, and I have a Revolution sim rig. As far as the third party software, um, we use uh, we use iAnalyze Racing. Of course, we all use Teams. I mean, Trading Paints, and other than that, I think it's just pretty much just SimDash to run the gauges and stuff like that.
Are you running the gauges right on your triples on the center?
No, I am using a, USB mounted gauge, an aftermarket.
Oh, of course, yeah. And we'll talk about your sim speed shop here in a minute. let's get the last question done. Most memorable iRacing moment, what would that be?
Uh, it's not something I'm very not something I'm very proud of. Uh,
I guess it
it,
doesn't have to be good. Yeah, it's
no, it's
memorable,
you said
right?
most memorable, not the best, not the best. Uh, the most memorable moment, gotta tell you, it was maybe a month after I'm into iRacing, and it was a charity race, and I believe it was Suicide Awareness 250 or something like that at one of the super speedways. And my brother was running in it. I was running in it. It was the first time either of us ran in a race that was being broadcast. So it was kind of a nervous moment, you know, looking back. I waited all day to hop on and turn laps here, and this is going to be great. Well, as all super speedways go, you got damage, and we ran through all of our fast repairs. So I think my car was 75% power, and it was the white flag, and I just zoned out, and I'm going down the back stretch into turn 3. I'm laps down, and I didn't have my relative on, wasn't looking in the mirror, and the leaders come up on me, and I'm just, putzing down the middle of the backstretch. I think it was Talladega, putzing down the middle of the backstretch into 3, and the leaders are 3 wide, on their final lap, and next thing you know, they all go by me, and I jerk the wheel, and I took everybody out except for maybe the one car that passed me. So, it,
Ouch.
yeah, that's the most memorable moment. So definitely not a good moment, but it was something to learn off of. That it's not just it's not a game. It's a simulator, and people take it seriously, and it's a passion, and it's an investment of time and energy for people. So it was a good learning, good mistake to make. It was a good learning experience.
I think at some point everybody's done that. I know I have. I'd guess, Tony, you probably done that maybe?
Oh, I've done lots of stupid things.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was it was definitely it was definitely classified as stupid by all means. So yeah.
Well, let's talk about your hardware venture here. We talked about it last week a little bit on the show, and then you obviously contacted us, and we had you come on to talk more about it. But your website is simspeedshop.com, and as we talked about last week, some really neat looking button boxes. Tell us about your lineup and what you're all selling. I saw you also have a handbrake, but the custom dashes that I've seen, you guys put some pictures out on recently, are just amazing. I mean, they're top quality stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for the time about that last week and today. Yeah, what we're doing is just started up in January of 2018, and I wanted to get my hands on something and start designing something and building something for simulators. And I figured that would be a good entry point, would be button boxes, and from there it just grew to word of mouth. And I was contacted by a local gentleman. I'm in central Pennsylvania, and a gentleman in central Pennsylvania contacted me, asked if I've ever built a dash, and I said no, but it's interesting, and I like to do it. If you're not looking for something really quick, and we can invest some time into it, I'd like to go down that road with you. And he was more than willing to do so. And him and I and my brother put a lot of time and energy into it, designing it, laying it out, wiring it, rewiring it, and it's all top quality stuff. They are all autometer gauges, so it's some serious stuff.
Yeah, so looking at that custom dash you did, it's got the NASCAR style, old style RPM gauge and analog gauges for, fuel, water, oil, and so forth. Are those like automotive parts that you've like rewired to work with USB? I mean, are those custom or what?
Yeah, we got the gauges from Jegs, and
Jeg
they,
Automotive. Okay.
yeah, Jegs Automotive. They're actual automotive gauges. They're auto. I think we got Autometer Phantom gauges. It's all a series of gauges. They all match, all backlit, and there's a shift indicator on there as well, an amber shift indicator. And what we did is through sim experience, through PCB programmable circuit boards, uh, we uh, we wired those gauges to go through sim dash. Sim dash recognizes the input of the gauges and translates it to iRacing. Now you have to go through and you have to program each gauge uh, through its percentages. So you got to take the RPM gauge and program it from 0 to 100% throughout the entire spread of the gauge, and you have to do that for every gauge that you're doing, and it relays it to a T, and you can fine tune it as close as you want to what iRacing shows. So I have a digital gauge, and then I also use the gauges on iRacing, and we can match it right down to the number.
That's great. I mean, it's really got that realistic look to it because it's obviously a real RPM gauge for a real car. Uh, Fantastic looking work, and then obviously you have these other button boxes that are basically very inexpensive from my point of view. I mean, $79.99 or $85. You got two different variations there. I love the flip up, starter switch. You got rotary dial, you got toggle, you got momentary push. Everything is here, and it's solid.
Yeah, thank you. We wanted to come out with a product that was consumer friendly as far as pricing and as far as durability. Uh, you know, if you go onto any of the websites out there that have buy and sell for simulator hardware and equipment, button boxes last a few hours on there. I mean, if someone lists a button box, it's gone immediately. So there's a demand for them out there, and I don't think people think about them until they really need one, or until they see one in front of them that is for sale, and at that point everybody wants it, and it's gone within an hour. So my thought process was, let's put something out there that's, again, consumer friendly, and that does the job for them and is very unique. Now, you mentioned what we have. We also have the brake bias style. We have a 3D printed brake bias style, two different sizes that mounts to the rotary encoder. So as you need to adjust your brake bias, it's also momentary. So you can press the brake bias style. If you press it, it prompts the brake bias, and then left or right to increase or decrease your brake bias. So that's something kind of unique to what we're doing. It's our own brake bias style. It's a rotary that encoder that I haven't seen anyone else use yet. So it's kind of two in one, and I'm trying to incorporate that dial into all the boxes going forward as kind of our trademark.
Now, are they like plug and play? Just have a USB cord on them, or what?
Very much so. Very plug and play. Everything is USB. Plug the USB in, and all the boards are licensed to us. So when you plug a board in, it says Sim Speed Shop button box. It's not a generic. It won't come up as a generic board or anything like that. You know you're getting a quality product.
So generic Windows drivers run it.
Yes.
All right. Well, very
Yeah, it's
good.
just plug and play.
And tell us a little bit briefly about the handbrake. And you said you're working on a shifter. What kind of shifter is it?
We're working on a sequential shifter. It's going to be an all metal design. We were working on a 3D printed version of it. That seemed to go pretty well, and we're gonna. I'm gonna look for someone to do the metal fab, and once we get that done, we got the design all laid out. We just gotta get the metal fab pricing and production down a little bit to make it reasonable, and I think we'll have a shifter on the market for 150-ish. But it's a steady, sturdy shifter. It's going to be it's pretty stout. And the handbrake is something we just came out with. It's an analog handbrake. We also have a hydraulic handbrake. So you have either version. The hydraulic handbrake is a little more costly. And it's about $350, but the analog handbrake we're priced at $135 right now, including shipping anywhere in the continental U.S. And that again is just plug and play. Plug it in and go to your settings, your control settings in iRacing, and select your handbrake, and pull it back, and you're set to go.
And it looks solid. It's like all metal parts, and
it is solid. It's all metal. The only part that is plastic would be the one of the back plates that has our logo on it. But other than that, it's all solid. And we just this week changed the bushings in it to give it a little bit better feel. But the general person wouldn't know anything different. Myself and Keith wanted, gentleman who's developing it with me, wanted a little bit sturdier final pull, so we came up with a different polymer bushing.
Yeah, it looks like the handle has multiple holes in it, so you can have different angles. You can have it like sticking straight up, or you can have it pointing towards the front window.
Correct. Absolutely. You can take the little C pin out and move it to I think 3 different positions.
Yeah, I think having it stick straight up and down, that's very European, I guess. I don't think we do that over here in the U.S.
Right.
Well, very cool stuff. Sim Speed Shop. I mean, if people want to learn more, I mean, where do you send them? Your website, social media?
Send them to our. No, sorry for the interruption. Yeah, send them to our website. We're on Facebook. I get on Twitter as much as I possibly can, but the website or Facebook, email us via either method there, and we'll get back to you as quick as we can. Usually within a few minutes, if at all possible.
Well, I've been very impressed by your products and what you're offering. The website looks great, everything, and your prices are right too compared to other products on the market. So wanted to get the word out. It looks like some good stuff.
Well, thank you. And that's the whole thing right now, is to keep the pricing right for everybody. It seems that when you're in a race, you could be racing with a 10-year-old, or you could be racing with a 65-year-old person. You could be racing with a millionaire. You could be racing with somebody who spends their hard-earned money just to get that track for that week. And if I can put something out there that makes somebody feel good about buying, and they don't have to feel bad about buying it, that's what I want to do. It's really about the people. It's not really about making a dollar on it. So,
well, that's pretty cool that you got involved just last year, a year ago, and here you are. You got the Obuto, you got triples, and you're making hardware, and you're starting business. I mean, you're really getting into it.
Yeah, it's a passion. Like I said earlier, it's a passion and an addiction, and do it as much as I can until I get yelled at. Right.
That's cool. Maybe you can make a living doing it too. That's pretty cool. Well, welcome to the podcast. It's been fun talking about that. Let's jump into racing results. NASCAR iRacing Series off week, guys, for Easter. Coming up, we're going to Texas. I haven't tested yet. Do we have anything ready? I don't know. I think we got a set, but I haven't run it for a week or so.
No, I've been testing the Road to Pro, the truck for tonight, so I haven't really messed with the A car yet.
Yeah. It was a nice off week, though. I mean, for Easter, you got to take advantage of these off weeks in a 36-week season in the NASCAR iRacing series. And don't burn yourself out. And you got to take advantage of the off weekends. This is the last one for a long time, too. So, anyway, as you said, Road to Pro tonight. Right after the recording of the podcast, we got Atlanta. I did run our set and did about 10 or 15 laps, and boy, it got tight. But Chris, you're saying it loosens up. It gets really stupid loose after like 20.
Yeah, right about actually where you quit, right about 15 laps or so, it'll start loosening up, and it just keeps getting looser and looser. And 30 laps in, the thing is almost wrecking loose. That's the way the V1 set was. I think the V2 is just a little bit tighter, so it might last a little bit longer. But yeah, it gets loose on you.
Wow. And I think Phil Geary was telling us, it's all going to be about tire management. He's been doing a lot of testing, but it's going to be about who can save their tires, especially if there's a long run.
Yeah, it seems like with this crazy camber stuff, there's only so much you can do, because even if you're really trying to manage your tires, they're still going to heat up like crazy.
Right. All right. Well, we'll run at Atlanta tonight. Let's talk about official racing. Tony, you made some huge progress. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, I decided I needed to up some of my licenses, so I spent a little bit of time racing dirt ovals and GRC, and I was able to get myself out of rookies in both of those. The oval side, I'm not very good, but I can, keep my car in one piece, and I don't get into too much trouble. So, I don't really have any good finishes, to really speak of there. But I just wanted to keep it safe and get out of there because I wanted to get into some heat racing. That's fun stuff. The GRC, I had a couple to go, and I did manage to get a third place finish in that. I still kind of struggle a little bit, but I'm getting a lot better. I'm getting the confidence is most definitely getting up, going around those tracks. Um, and I tried to get my asphalt uh, road license out of rookies, and I was close, but man, I tell you, I really suck on the road. Um, on the road side of things, I'm just terrible. I struggle. I have a hard time, but you know, I think I did 3 races on the Saturday, and my last race, I was able to squeeze out a fourth place finish. There wasn't a whole lot of racing. Mostly, I was just taking advantage of other people's mistakes. But I did get to race a couple of guys for a couple of laps, and that was pretty fun. So, yeah, I had got to wear a badge of accomplishment on the weekend during our off week. That was good.
Well, that GRC, I remember 6 months ago when we started, you were hitting everything out there. I mean, literally every wall that could be hit was being hit by Tony, but now here you are getting third place.
Yeah, it sounds like you made the most of your off week. That's a lot of progress.
Well, good job there. Let's talk about hosted. I ran some fun stuff with teammate Phil Linden. We ran the Gen 5 A car at Daytona without the restrictor plate. As I talked about last week, we decided to go ahead and do it. It was a blast. I hosted the race. A bunch of people showed up. I think we had about 15 or 20. Um, it was so much fun, but once the tires ran off after like 2 or 3, 4 laps, you couldn't not keep it off the wall. You had to lift, or you were going to dump it into the wall, and it was so much fun. Uh, an old friend, Robert Sundberg, showed up for that race. I used to call him Mr. Talladega because all he would, back in the day, he just used to run Talladega and hosted all the time, and he was really good. And he used to be on NASCAR 2003 and all that before back in the day. But shout out to Mr. Sundberg. He hooked me up with the setup. So, all right, let's talk results for the NASCAR Peak Series. They ran last Tuesday, and defending series champion Ryan Michael Luzo wins at Fontana. P2 Taylor Hurst, 3 Ray Alfala, Jimmy Mullis 4th, Keegan Leahy 5th. What'd you guys think? I watched a little bit of it, kind of with the audio off, and it was some pretty good racing.
I watched a little bit of it. It was definitely good racing. It just I was distracted, so I didn't really focus. But yeah, it was just good racing. I'm kind of wish they were at Martinsville just so you could see what the best could do there. But Fontana's still a fun track to watch a race at.
There was one guy who wrecked pretty hard. I forget who it was, but he had such a run up off of 4, and when you get a run like that, you can't give it up. You know, it's just like you got to take it, and he did, and he lost control and dumped it in the wall. But there was a bunch of stuff like that going on, but yeah, it was a pretty cool race.
Yeah, I was surprised. They were throwing some big blocks going down the front stretch pretty early on in the race. It really shows how competitive that series is and how they're fighting for every single spot.
Well, track position. Yeah, I mean, it's so
huge.
big. Yeah. Yeah, it's like you got to run hard every lap these days. You know, there's no laying back and no, we'll race at the end, and those days are over. All right, next up, World Championship Grand Prix. Mitchell DeJong picks up his first win of the season at Phillip Island. Gregor Hutu, P2. Martin Kroenke, P3. Gregor Hutu posted after the race a decent result. Had to be pretty aggressive with the strategy and also defending on the last stint, but didn't quite work out. We'll get the win one of these days. But Mitchell DeJong, I mean, if you remember, he was killing it in GRC, and now he's killing it in F1.
Yeah, I mean, talk about 2 complete disciplines of racing, and he just dominates in both. So, amazingly talented.
Yeah, absolutely. And iRacing did put out a recap video of the event, about 3 minutes long, showing, the highlights and stuff. I did watch that, and it was kind of fun to check it out. But yeah, apparently Hutu and DeJong were battling at the end there, and Mitchell put a pretty bold pass on him and got it done. Let's jump into topics. Will, you're up first.
Yeah, so another week and another patch and hotfix. First patch came on the 29th. They included some fixes to an audio issue, some new sponsors in the paint kit. They stiffened the tire carcass on the Dirt Late model. Looked like the NIS cars got a few season setup updated. But the most notable change was the addition of the dual clutch to the McLaren MP430, which is the newest F1 car, the one they use in the Grand Prix series.
Dual clutch. I just have no clue what that is.
From my understanding, Tyler Hudson left some notes. It seems like you basically could map your clutch to a button. So like I have the G29. Say if I were to map the clutch to X, what I could essentially do is hold my clutch midway through, hit X, and then go full clutch. And then at that point on the start of the race is really the only time you're ever going to use it. Let go of the button, and that will drop the clutch to your preset location. Say
it's like a start button thing.
Yeah, essentially. So basically, say if you like to start, say 60% clutch, instead of releasing the clutch that 40%, you go to 60% clutch, hit the button, and then when you let go of the button, it drops it to that no matter what amount you go past that. So it's primarily going to be used on the start. It looks like you can actually burn up the clutch and get some clutch slip as well. But that's probably going to be more for like the highest level of driver. I think most people probably aren't even going to fully utilize it. But it is definitely a really cool addition. Makes it more like how a traditional F1 car's clutch system works.
Yeah, they have a launch button, and it works the same way, I think. Okay, so that was patch 3, and then they did a hot fix, pit stop animation timing audio issue that could cause the last played scrape sound to repeat over and over, and dirt late models had their carcass stiffened. But that sound problem, that was a problem for a lot of people, so it sounds like they're addressing that.
Yeah, I think that's the first mention of that problem since it first arrives. So it sounds like it was possibly like you would get that noise and it would just glitch over and over, which is probably what amplified it so loud. So hopefully that problem kind of resolves itself at this point.
Okay, cool. Chris, you're next.
Yeah, a friend of the podcast, John Hammer, asked in the forum if you guys prefer to run the A Open series a week before NIS. The results so far are 48% yes and 38% no. And from what he's saying, what I understand is, so we're at Texas this week, and what he's saying is we would have been running the A Open at Texas last week, so you have some place to practice for NIS. And I kind of agree with this. And then I also wanted this topic because I wanted to see what you guys thought of having a second Carb Cup type race that runs every hour. That instead of running, just a few tracks, it runs the same schedule as NIS. I think there'd be plenty of people that would run that, whether it was to practice for NIS or just because you needed to go, you've been practicing this track all week and you needed a place just to go blow off some steam in an unofficial race. What do you guys think?
Well, at 15 after the hour, yeah. I mean, because you got Dallara Dash at the top of the hour, you got Pickup Cup at half hour, you got Carb Cup at quarter till. So why not? That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I'd just like to have some place to blow off steam because you can't hardly do it in official races. Because if you want to race someplace short, for example, I raced a truck race last night, and it was at where that Rockingham, and I had never raced there. Didn't get a lot of practice, but I was getting around the track. It was a blast racing there. Started toward the back, hit the wall right at the end of my first qualifying lap, so I screwed up both laps. Started in the back. We had a long green flag run, ran up into the top 10. And during that long run, a couple guys got into me. Not enough to even matter, but enough to get 4X anyway. And I scraped the wall one time. Between that 8X and scraping the wall, I only had 10 seconds of damage. But yeah, you get, I don't know if it's a netcode thing, but they just need to dial back these incident points big time because you can't go to a race and have fun. So why not have an official race where you can go practice for NIS and not worry about that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in that spot, what I was saying is if you're in a spot where you're losing your license because you're getting in too many incidents, I mean, that's obviously the deterrent, but I think the big deterrent was when we were at Martinsville and I got DQ'd from too many incidents. I really feel like that needs to be adjusted, though.
Yeah,
I kind of
agree with that.
Sorry, David.
No, that's all right. Well, I did 80 laps at Martinsville in the one race that I did, and I got 8x from ghost incidents that I wasn't even a part of. Like, I got 8x legit. I understand that. Then out of nowhere, I'm going around a turn, get another 8x from not hitting anybody, and then somebody bumps me and DQs me out. I'm a very clean driver. I don't wreck people. And to really get knocked out that early in a race was very disheartening, and watch my SR just drop, 8 points. It just, it's terrible.
Well, back to John's post as far as the poll for do we want to run A Open, a week ahead of NIS as far as schedule. I like the idea, but I think a lot of people think that, A Open is separate from NIS, and the A Open people probably just want to run the NASCAR schedule, which they pretty much do already. Why do they want to run everything a week earlier just to, suit what we want? I don't know.
I feel like the NIS should run after the Cup race. I kind of mentioned that in the forum. The biggest reason is I had no want to even run at, say, Martinsville. I knew it would be a wreck fest. I knew there would be cautions. I knew all the bad. But after watching the Cup race and watching Clint Boyer run and all that, I was like hyped up and motivated and wanted to run at Martinsville. But by that point, it was done and over. I don't think we should move the A Open back a week. I think we should run the NIS 1 week later. So instead of running it the week of the Cup, we run it the week after.
I'd be okay with that.
I feel like that would be the best of both worlds because it's still pretty much the same week. We're just starting the race with the Cup, and then we run our stuff that later that week. And then the A Open could continue to do what it's doing, and it would give you the opportunity to practice ahead of time, which I think would help the A Open. And I really think having that hype of a real race going into the week would benefit participation in the NIS series as well. And I also have to agree a little bit with Chris Scales. I wish there was another fun series. But I would love to see a fun series that required an A license, not a rookie license. Something for somebody who's taken the time to get up to A license. If they had, like you said, like a race every hour for the A car, 30, 40, 50 lap shootout, whatever it may be, I think that would be a ton of fun just to go out there, race, not have to worry about your SR, and just have fun.
Yeah, or maybe a C license just like NIS is. And yeah, I think Will's exactly right. Like that just needs to get done now because I feel the same way. I watch the race and I get fired up for Sunday night's race. I mean, they can change the NIS schedule, move it a week, and then that, yeah, it gets you fired up for the week of NIS racing. Plus, it doesn't mess with the schedule for those guys that are really dedicated to run that A Open. It doesn't mess with their schedule to accommodate us.
The only thing would be that the off weeks would be different than real NASCAR. Like this last week, we were off, and so was NASCAR. So if we did that, then we'd be off of them. But I would be okay with it.
Yeah, and I think even Sunday is one of the lowest participated races. I think Wednesday and Saturday were the biggest ones. So I know like Easter, I can't remember the next off week after that, but I don't think it would be that big of an issue. I think the pros would definitely outweigh the cons on that.
All right, David, what's next?
Will Vincent, Race Spot TV commentator, had an exciting week at the iRacing headquarters. It started with him getting the iRacing logo tattooed onto him. He's going to regret that in 20 years. Followed by a video of him hijacking and having some fun with the iRacing scanner, and also find out, too, that he's going to be getting married.
And the tattoo?
He apparently got an iRacing tattoo tattooed on him.
On
like
his
I said,
left breast. An actual tattoo of the iRacing logo.
Yeah, he's definitely going to regret that in 20 years.
And this thing is not small. It is it takes up a good chunk of property there.
It's a good 6 by 5 inch or something.
Yeah, something along those lines. I saw it. I'm going, wow, there's dedication.
Well, I wonder what the new bride is thinking about the new tattoo.
She's going, well, I was going to marry him, but now...
Yeah, it might make you think twice, but, I mean, it's colored, too. He's got the red, white, blue thing going on.
It should have been smaller. It's so big.
Well, okay, so as far as tattoo goes, like they did a nice job. Like it looks fantastic. Each to their own, right? I mean, hell, that's what he wants. Have at her, man. You only live once. I got to imagine his wife just thinks it's damn sexy.
So Tony, I gotta ask then, man, when you getting yours?
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, I like iRacing, but I'm not getting a tattoo.
Funny thing is I showed my wife that, and that is the first thing she said. So when are you getting yours, and where are you getting it?
Yeah, and then there was a video that he stood in front of the laser scanner and he was scanning his tattoo or something like that. It was like a joke video. Or maybe he's scanning something else, some other body part. I'm not sure. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I don't think he was scanning the tattoo. It was a little too far south.
Oh no,
Okay.
that's great. Have fun with it. Whatever. if you like it, that's great. And well, for people that don't, well, you didn't get the damn tattoo, so enjoy it through his eyes.
All right. Pretty cool, Will. Good job. All right, Tony, what you got next?
Okay, Brandon Lee, top F1 esport drivers, saying some good things about iRacing. I guess he's a competitor in the E-Rock, and he's a champion of the inaugural F1 Esports Series. He was interviewed by VRS, and one quote, anyways, we got up for him is, "Well, iRacing is debatably the best simulator out there in almost every single way. It's much more realistic, of course, and I think that's great to challenge yourself."
Well, there you go. So this is the guy who's like at the top of his game as far as F1 2014 on PS3, Xbox 360, Codemasters, all that stuff. And what does he say? Oh, iRacing is debatably the best sim out there, of course. Pretty cool. All right, Chris, you got next.
It looks like we have Eric Hudek talks about the new IR18. After some discussion on the forums about the aerodynamic settings on the new Dallara IR18 and how they affect the car, Eric chimed in stating, "Wickers are limited per the rule book, which are the options we are using. Now it's more possible more better data may come from sources down the line as there are questionable sensitivities at lower flap angles. But we've got what we've got for the time being." And it's sad how much I don't know about these cars being from Indiana. But yeah, Wickers, I have no idea what that is.
That's the thing. I think it's like a strip along the back part of the wing that stands straight up, kind of for downforce. But yeah, he basically goes on to say there are three unique designs for the Chevy, Honda, and Dallara, but this car, the data that we have is the Dallara version. And anyway, I kind of flagged this post to talk about because it's amazing how technical these guys are getting. This is Eric Hudek, who's an engineer on the iRacing staff, who used to be an engineer on Richard Childress Racing's team, and he knows all the engineering details about these new Indy cars, down to the wicker and what the rule books say and every little thing, and it's just amazing to me.
Yeah, I read through almost all 5 pages of that forum post just trying to understand everything when I originally opened the link. And yeah, there was a lot of complaining about the rear stability of the car, and the people felt like it wasn't realistic. But it looks like these new Indy cars are much more sensitive to the rear aero. So like under braking, and it kind of pushes that rear wing up. And that really upsets the car. And there's just a lot of discussion. People felt the car was broken, but this is the data they were given, and everything seems to be working as intended.
We got what the real guys got. That's what I think he's saying.
Yeah, there was also some discussion about the radiator inlets as well. If you ran too small of an inlet, basically think of an NIS car running too much tape, you could possibly blow your motor in qualifying. But yeah, everything seems to be working the way they intended from what he was saying. So,
All right, cool. Will, what's next?
yeah, so Tyler Hudson posted up on the forum about driver conduct in the World Championship's newer series. So basically he stated finishing top 23 in a Pro Series points does not guarantee one a World Championship license. Drivers' conduct on and off the track is taken into consideration, and drivers who have shown they will not represent iRacing or its partners in a positive fashion will not be invited.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think this kind of had to come from the new Dirt series. I feel like with the snake splits and everything, there's been a lot of unhappy members as far as how racing and things have
Bad
gone.
driving.
Yeah, so I think this was just more of a kind of a friendly reminder. I don't think it was intended to target anybody at all. Just a good friendly reminder of professionalism, I take it.
Yep. Yeah, there's other considerations, and he's just reminding everybody about that. It's not just about your points finish. If you got to drive like a professional out there, you know, you got to act like a professional.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're going to be racing in the top level of iRacing, and they're trying to make a real push on this thing, I mean, you're kind of a steward of iRacing, so you ought to be on your best behavior. Any other quote unquote professional sport out there would expect no less of any other athletes. So if this is this is obviously the direction iRacing wants to go, it should be, we all should be held to the same standard, I think.
Yep. All right, I'm going to take the next one here. April 1st came this week, and I tried to fool my team. I think I might have got you, Chris. I don't know, but I dug up an old one from 2015, the iRacing Mobile, coming to your cell phone near you. What'd you think?
No, you got me. Yeah, well, so I know they already have, I don't know anybody that uses it, but they already have where you can control the sim with your phone, using the tilt stuff. And the
Yeah.
video was really good. And, I haven't been around that long, so I hadn't seen it. So, yeah, you got me.
Yeah, I figured I'd get the newer team members who haven't been around since 2015 and see if it worked, and it did. I sent that video over about the iRacing Mobile, and that was pretty funny.
When you first sent it, I was at work, or no, I wasn't at work. I was doing something and I read it. I'm like, oh, cool, we're going to have an app where we can browse the forums and do that kind of stuff, maybe register for a race. And then I opened the video, I'm like, yeah, this is fake.
So did that other one get any of you guys, the NASCAR going electric, the alliance with
I
Tesla?
saw that all over Facebook.
Yeah, I didn't see it all anywhere, and I saw Chris post that, and afterwards, you saw what I left you, right, Chris?
Yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
a sucker. That one got me too, especially when they
Yeah,
had
you
like
said
the
that, I'm
quotes
like,
from
"You're
Tesla
up."
and stuff.
Couple of choice words here, but
Yeah, I'm pretty
And
gullible. They both got me.
I read the headlines to that, and I'm like, come on, you got to try harder than that. But
well, Tony, you got to understand, man. The reason I thought that legitimate is Formula One has its own electric version of that called Formula E. So there is legitimate E racing, like electric car racing out there.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I know, but come on, this is NASCAR. This is like all about the motors, the power, the sound.
Oh yeah, there'd be riots
It
in the
just-
streets.
Oh, there'd be hell all over, and I just nope, I didn't buy it.
Yeah. All right, David, you're up.
Actually, I'll take this one here. I didn't kind of write this
Okay.
one out. Basically, Tyler Hudson posted up that they're gonna change the track, in week 9 from Pocono in the Grand Touring Cup Series. People were essentially basically going through pit road and cutting out a big chunk of track. So he kind of posted up like, hey, what track would you guys like to see in its place? But from what it looks like, as far as the hot fix today, they actually slowed down the pit road speed limit down to 20 miles an hour. So I
20?
think, yeah, so that should resolve that problem. Now this isn't Pocono the big oval, this is Pocono the road course on the side. So there's a section of track where you could just go through pit road, and at pit road speed prior, you would actually make up time. So that kind of came up, and it's already been resolved already. So I don't know if they're still going to change the schedule or what's going on there, but it has been resolved.
Yeah. Was this the same thing where I remember I ran a hosted event at Pocono Road Course, and every time anyone left pit road, you would get black flagged?
I didn't see any mention of that at all.
Yeah.
I did the Grand Touring, the Fanatec series, or a practice or something this week, and there is a part of the track where there's like a heavy braking zone and you make a left turn, or you could just go straight through the pits. And it was my first time going around the track, and I went straight through the pits, and I noticed it was quicker right away. So I don't know how long the people have been exploiting this.
Yeah. Well, they take care of it. They are getting it fixed, so that's cool. All right, let's throw this one to our special guest, Jason. Are you still there? This one's called "How Many Buttons and Encoders Are Possible?" You might know this. Let's see. It's from David Tucker. It says, if anyone is curious about how many buttons we support, we have the following limitations: 32 devices at one time, 16 analog axes per device, 64 buttons per device. Direct input supports 128, but we can't handle that since we use a 64-bit bit mask to support multiple button presses. So is there a thing as too many button boxes?
Sorry about that. I was keying up the wrong button there. Wasn't keying up the right mic. I haven't gotten to that point yet. The most I've probably tried at once was into the 40s. I've never had a reason to go much higher than that. That is off one. That's off one board. So it's a good challenge. I can try and see how high we can go. I'd never really tried it.
Well, there you go. Challenge put out.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, pretty crazy how many you can actually do there. I had no idea.
Yeah, with the the rotaries, I mean those are going to count as two, and I think the hat switches are 8, if I'm not mistaken. So those they can add up pretty quick once you start doing different things with the boxes.
Yep. Well, pretty cool. Okay, next topic, Tony, you got it.
Yeah, this looks like it has already passed us, but we ought to talk about it anyways. iRacing.com tweeted on March 29. Make sure to tune in to NASCAR America at 5 p.m. Eastern on NASCAR on NBC to catch Ty Majeski turning some virtual laps on iRacing with Parker Kligerman. Did any of you guys watch this?
I did. I watched the video online and was a little disappointed. It was just like Parker doing his normal thing, but Ty is on the phone. He like called into the studio, and apparently Ty is on the track virtually with Parker, but you really can't tell that by the footage that they're providing. You can hear Ty talking, but
yeah. Sorry, I was gonna say if you don't know Ty runs the 91 car, I think you wouldn't have known that was him because they were kind of running 1-2 to each other at the back of the pack there.
Yeah, it was a little weird, but I guess it worked.
Yeah. On that note, Parker does invite his followers on Facebook and on Twitter to hop in the sim with him when he's doing NASCAR America. So if anybody ever wants to get on track with Parker and be broadcast through NBC, reach out to Parker. He'll let you in there.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, they got to have cars on the track, to be around him, and so you're just out there running laps, while they're taping it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he runs in a, I think it's Sim 500. He runs in a Sim 500 league on Monday nights, and he often invites guys in.
Yeah, I mean, the video was cool because, you heard Ty talking about iRacing, what a great opportunity they've given him as a sponsor as he's come up through the ranks and so forth. So lots of praise for iRacing there.
Yeah, it's nice to see NBC really kind of lead the charge with the iRacing coverage. I don't know if Dell Jr. has a big part in that since he's kind of joined that team, but it is really cool to see them get that extra exposure.
Yeah, I'd love to see Dale Jr. get more involved with that. All right, Will, what's next?
Yeah, so Alex Bergeron, he races in, I know he used to race in the Grand Prix.
Everything.
Yeah, Grand Prix World Championship. He's part of the NPAS series, but he actually posted a really funny video of him celebrating winning the American Dirt Series Championship in the Wing 410 at Lanier, and he just has that car doing donuts nonstop.
He's doing his Rico Abreu impersonation.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's running triples, because if I tried that in VR, I'd probably throw up.
Yeah, the kid is a talent for sure. We've talked about him multiple times. He was the guy who did the virtual racing to real road thing that Josh Hamilton put together, where they put him in an actual dirt car up in Canada.
That's a virtual to reality.
Yeah, right. And apparently, I've heard virtual to reality. They're actually got another couple guys who they're putting in real cars here in the next couple weeks. So they're doing it again.
Yeah, I believe they're working on doing it in a Camping World truck also at some point.
That is so cool. I can't believe he's pulling that off and getting the funding somehow to make that work. So congrats to Josh on that. And but Alex Bergeron, yeah, watch for him. He's going to be in real racing, I'm sure. He's really talented. Let's jump into hardware software. David, you got the first one.
What's new in version 4.14?
Z1 dashboard has been got a new version out.
Oh, I didn't know what that was.
You don't use the Z1 dash? I think most people do, but I have it. Now, if you have the version where you get it updated each month, where you pay a monthly fee, you can get this. I don't do the monthly fee, so I don't have this, but apparently they got 11 new dashboards, including the new VW, Rallycross car, Ford GTE, the 2018 IndyCar, and so forth.
Yeah, I've heard of Z1, but I don't use it. I use the sim racing apps.
So who else is using this Z1 dash? Am I the only one?
I've looked at it. I'm kind of in the same boat as David. I use the iRacing apps. But I have looked at this, and I think I may in the future. Once I upgrade my setup here a little bit, I think I might have some room for this.
It has so much stuff. I mean, I only use the dashboard stuff, but it's also got the analyzer part of the software where you can do lap analysis, telemetry, lap traces, track maps, and so on. Okay, I'm going to take the next one. RC Europe put out a post on their Facebook page, a picture of a racer's sim rig. His name is Charlie Rage, and he sent us some pictures of his setup. And man, does this thing look nice, nice, nice. I love it. It's white. I love the color. He's got it on like a green carpet, and with the white rig and the white seat, it's a really contrasting look. He's got a fourth monitor under the left triple. He's got triples. And then check out the dash, guys. I mean, what do you think of that dash? The wheels coming right out of it. I mean, Jason, that's pretty good work. What do you think?
That's pretty intense. Wow. So first I saw this. Look at
and it's all lit
button
up.
boxes too. I mean, there's your answer to buttons.
What is it?
Look at the button box he has there. I mean, that's a whole panel.
He's not kidding. He's got half a rocket ship sitting there.
Well, that thing on the right, bottom right, that's an audio mixer. Actually, it's a Yamaha audio mixer, and he's mixing all his sound with that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
look,
all those buttons kind of go, whoa, what is going on there? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, below the right monitor.
Right.
Oh, I thought the mixer was on the floor there.
But yeah, there's a lot of neat stuff going on this rig, and again, the color really threw me off. If I had a choice, I'd love to have my Obutto Revolution white. It makes me want to paint it.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Will. I was just gonna say, like, dude, it almost looks like he's got an emergency shut-off switch, right down at the bottom right of the one picture.
Big old red button.
Yeah, bail, kill it.
He's got one of those do not press buttons, but people press it.
It looks like he uses this rig to like maybe possibly stream his gameplay. I think that's the reason with the green screen in the background. But that is definitely a beautiful rig for sure.
Yeah, that is some serious cash right there.
He's even got the sim racing shoes right behind the seat stored. He's got seat belts, 5-point harness.
He's got the gloves. You need the gloves for that Fanatec wheel he's got over there in the corner. That thing will make your hands cramp.
Okay, David, you want to pick up the next one, the 3D printed wheel?
Yeah, I was trying to click on that and couldn't get much out of it. All that came up were some pictures of a 3D printed F1 wheel, but the a360.co link doesn't come up with anything, so I don't know really what this goes to.
If you have the right browser, it opens up a three-dimensional CAD design of this wheel, this 3D printed wheel. And I can use my mouse to like drag and spin it around and look at underneath it and so forth. Pretty freaking cool. But anyway, this guy came up with a 3D printed wheel. His name is Henrik Kamara from Scandinavia, and he designed it in software, had it printed on a 3D printer, and he posted all the pictures of it up on Google Plus, how he wired it and everything. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, I just got it up. That's pretty intense.
Yep. So if you're interested, check this out on the forum. Search the words 3D printed F1 wheel, and you'll find it.
Yeah, it looks like it's for. It looks like it has a Thrustmaster quick release, but my brother-in-law, he just got a 3D printer. I gotta send him this link and get me a wheel.
There you go. You could print one or something. But look at the wiring. There's that one picture where he shows the wiring inside, and there's a little circuit board. I mean, obviously you can't print that kind of stuff. So you got to know what you're doing, is what I'm getting at. But yeah, I mean, it looks really nice. And are any of you able to load up the CAD drawing where you can spin it around?
No.
Yeah, I am. I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, this is a website called Autodesk360.com, which I do believe Autodesk does CAD, the software called CAD.
Wow. And it looks like it has a slot for maybe like an iPhone? Something
Right, like a smartphone goes in that dash, and it makes a dash.
Yeah. Wow. Pretty neat. A lot of thought there.
Pretty cool idea. Yeah, absolutely. So check that out. All right, Tony, what do you got next?
I'm just loading up a link. We got
Holy cow.
Holy, yeah. D-Box from DES Simulation. We're looking at some D-Box Gen 2 actuators. It's a 4 actuator kit. You're almost looking at a second mortgage. But if you want to, man, we've looked at some of these D-box setups, and they're absolutely amazing if you got the scratch to make it happen. I guess I'm looking at it in Canadian dollar, and it's just ridiculous. But it's available on back order, so people are definitely buying it. Um, Canadian, we're looking at like 16 grand uh, for 4 actuators. That's just awesome.
Oh, no, Tony, you're looking at it 16 grand in American dollars too, man. It's 16,399.99.
Holy, that's what it starts at.
That's what it starts at. It tops out at 42,892.
Holy cow! So
Yeah,
this is just the actual simulator actuator things. This is not the rig. This is not the wheel. This is not the seat. This is just the motion part of it that you have to put with all that other stuff.
Yeah, so just to give you an idea, I was clicking some buttons. So this is like the actuator length is 1.5 inches, and it's got a 250-pound load on it. So in Canadian dollars, it's 16,399. In US dollars, it's down around 12 grand. So very affordable for all my US friends.
And I think the idea is you like have a motionary cockpit with 4 legs, and you put these underneath the 4 legs, and they move the legs up and down independently.
That's kind of yeah, I think you nailed it right there. I mean, for all the different ones that I've looked at, it seems to be how they work.
Well, the reason we're talking about this today is this is a North American distributor of D-Box that I found, dessimulation.com. And so if you've been looking at purchasing these, you can now get them through a local distributor. So check it out if you're into motion. Man, that's a lot of money. I'd probably be looking, I don't know. I mean, the sim experience, for that much money, you could get a full version of the sim experience, I think.
Yeah, as I say, the Stage 5 is, I think, cheaper than that.
Right. So how much better is this? I mean, that's really the question.
I would, for the money that you pay and stuff like this, I mean, the most experience I got is going to a D-Box movie theater, and that's just pretty darn cool. So maybe this stuff just works smoother. It's more, the movements are more precise. Could be a plethora of things, right? But the price of it just makes my jaw hit the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, we've all looked at these before, but I don't think we've really talked about proper cost. But man, wow. All right, Will, what's next?
Yeah, we had some discussion about the proper setup of triples. David Tucker posted up in the forum some kind of details on that.
Well, what he put up was something that really caught me was the per screen rendering checkmark box. So we've all seen this in the options, and it says something, do you want to render each screen separately, is what it is. And so he explains exactly what that is.
Yeah, so it sounds like when you do per screen rendering, each one of your monitors, so if you have 3 monitors, is each rendered individually, which is a much more workload on your computer, but it deals with the distortion, because at that point you could tell them, like, hey, this is the thickness of the beveling, this is the angle. Because I know I tried to set up my triples earlier this week, because I kind of had to take apart my Oculus. And yeah, no, this is great information here.
Well, and it allows you to have a higher FOV when you have that check marked, because they angle the cameras separately from each monitor, your left, center, and right, if you have that box check marked. So if you don't have it check marked, you're not going to be able to get as much FOV. There's a big frame rate hit too when you check mark the box. Your graphics card has to be able to handle it, but if it can, he highly recommends running it with it turned on or checked.
Now, just a quick question, Mike. Where is that box found?
I think it's the upper left of the graphic options in Sim.
Now, I'm just a little confusion here on my part. How does that relate to the multi-projection box? Is that the same one, or?
No, I think multi-projection is a different thing. I'm not sure what that is.
Okay, yeah,
But
I see.
this is
having a hard time.
This is where basically either your graphics card is rendering one image, which is across all three, or it's rendering three separate images going to three separate monitors. So that's what this one is. And so it basically means your graphics card has to work 3 times as hard because it's doing 3 times the amount of work.
Got it.
So if you're having if you're having performance issues, you could actually uncheck that box and it would probably help a lot. You would have a lower FOV too. Yeah, there's a lot to learn about that kind of stuff. I'm always trying to learn. Okay, David, I guess you got the last topic.
Well, the last one here is a video from Fernando Alonso, the two-time Formula One champion, that's got great advice for young drivers. It's about 6 minutes, but it's got some good advice. Mainly, start with karts, run in a simulator, practice your overtaking, and most importantly, work with your engineers.
Yeah, and it was interesting that run your simulator was definitely one of the basic steps, Fernando says to do.
Yeah, even the way he mentioned running a simulator makes it sound like just run thousands of hours because everything at that point will become second nature. Was kind of the way I understood him describing it.
Yeah, pretty cool. Excited to see him run Le Mans this year and maybe get back to Indy 500. I don't think he's going to be there this year, though. All right, let's jump into final thoughts. Chris Scales had to step away. David Flowers, you're up.
Just looking forward to Texas this week for the cars. Get away from some of that short track madness. I'm not running trucks tonight. I ain't feeling well, so that's all I got.
All right, very good. Tony Groves, what do you got?
Yeah, coming off a pretty high on a weekend there, getting those licenses, and doing all right at that. I mean, a lot of confidence coming into this week. I'm excited to run Texas. I don't really remember, and I actually haven't even thrown any laps down yet, but I will be doing that probably tomorrow. Um, but I remember liking it, so I'm excited. And like David, I'm very happy to get away from the short tracks there. Um, it's man, that you just take the hits. Not much you can do about it. And to also mirror David, I will be out tonight. I actually had to go and work in a truck today and kind of threw my back out. So even sitting through the podcast tonight is getting quite uncomfortable. So I wish you guys all the best of luck in the race tonight, and go get her.
All right, we'll do. All right, and William Gibson, final thoughts?
No, I just want to say thanks everyone for listening. I am actually gonna miss next week's show. I'm actually driving cross country from California to North Carolina. I'm moving, so I've mentioned that a few times, but no, I just want to say wish everyone who's racing tonight good luck, and hopefully not next week, but the week after I'll be back.
All right, and drive safe. I was asking you, what is the most important thing out of all your possessions that you're going to pack the most carefully and be the most gentle with? And what was the answer?
That was definitely my computer. In fact, that's the only thing we haven't really packed up yet. Our whole bed frame, that's all dismantled, put it away, mattresses on the floor. So everything's pretty much packed except my racing rig. Had to take the Oculus off the other day to get started to show the Wi-Fi was making some progress. But yeah, tomorrow morning I'm gonna break this bad boy down and get everything ready. So
All right, very good. Yeah, I did the same thing when I moved. The rig was the last thing to be taken apart and was the very first thing to be put in the house and be put together, and obviously of the highest importance.
Yeah, no, we technically, like, so basically the only things in the cab of the truck with us will be my computer, our cats, and us. So yeah, it's definitely top of the list there.
All right, yeah, I thought
Well,
so.
you can lay a mattress and sleep anywhere. You can go and buy styrofoam or paper plates, and the same with forks and stuff. But you can get at that stuff anytime. The computer, the rig. Well, priorities, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, very good. And special guest Jason Eisenhower, thanks for joining us. You're welcome back anytime. Very cool, your sim racing boxes that you put out and other hardware. What are your final thoughts?
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me in here today, and I look forward to coming back and joining some discussions. And I'm glad I found iRacing, and I'm glad I found the iRacers Lounge. Definitely be spreading the word about you guys.
All right, well, thank you for that. And yeah, we'll keep talking about your stuff. Make sure to send me links of when you got new stuff out and stuff. We'll talk about it for sure.
Yeah, and I would like to be able to send you guys some product to test out and take a, if someone's doing rallycross, I'd be glad to send a breakout.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much. I'm sure somebody on our team would be interested in that.
I'm sure Phil would be all over that.
We have a guy trying to do good in GRC right now.
Yeah, I'd be glad to send a break. Absolutely.
Oh,
And then,
that's cool.
As things progress, I'll keep you guys in the loophole and send stuff out.
Well,
And obviously be completely honest about everything. Positive feedback and negative feedback. It's all good.
well, absolutely. As you grow this, obviously a business, and looking to sell a bunch of product. So good luck with that. My final thoughts. Well, I'm glad the off week is over for Easter, and I'm always a little, what do I do with myself? And it was, time. I normally would be racing, but I'm sitting out on the couch in the living room, and doing other things, and it was a little odd. So it's nice the week is over. Good to be back to going to Texas. I usually do pretty good there because it is an attrition kind of race, I think. So looking forward to that. Make sure to find us if you guys want to be on the show or have questions or topic ideas. Hit us up. We're everywhere. You can subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you name it. So with that, we'll see you on the track later. Bye.